What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. It's the King of Indie Splattercat coming right back at you with another weekend review. If you don't know what this series is, it was actually backed by the Patreon backers, so if you wanted to help out and get new shows, this is how you do it. I'll have a link for you down below. Patreon's a site that allows you to fund your favorite content creators with like a monthly donation, essentially. And at certain thresholds, I reward you with new shows and stuff like that this allows me to go ahead and create. And this is one that the Patreon backers were pretty vocal about, and it's one that ended up getting funded, so here it is. That all out of the way. I promise this whole thing is not just one giant sales pitch, because I don't like it to be like that. But welcome on back in. This is the series where we sit down for a little while and we talk about things going on with the channel, things coming, things going, things changing, and the mindset, a little bit of background information on what I'm enjoying about one game versus another, and all that kind of fun stuff. So, without further ado, I really kind of like to jump into it, and this week has been good for me. This has been a fun week. I've had a lot of fun this week. I've been hanging out with friends a lot. I've been getting out of the house quite a bit, which I think is pretty healthy when you're in like that mode where you're having trouble focusing and getting work done. And so honestly, I'm tremendously thankful for that. I'm feeling really good right now, and I figured it was a good time to strike while the iron is hot when it comes to getting the weekend review done, because I like to be in a good mood when I do stuff. So speaking of good moods, Twitch TV/Splattercat Gaming, growing at an alarming rate. We've been doing like 200 follows a stream. It's been just blowing up. We went from like 100 subscribers up to 200 subscribers in the course of a week. I don't know why it's so hot right now, but it is definitely hot up on the Twitch stream. If you haven't had the chance to swing on through, I highly recommend that you do. It's a lot of fun. It gives me a chance to interact with you as an audience and a group of viewers, which is something that I think YouTube lacks. I don't get that opportunity a lot when we're just hanging out on the interwebs, and so I try to go through comments, and I do answer them every now and again, but there's just so many on a daily basis that it's very, very difficult to really accomplish that and keep up with it. But Twitch allows me a unique opportunity to hang out and talk with you face to face. You can post your question right there on the screen, and I have to answer it. I'm like, I can't duck it. I could be right there, I'll look right at it, and you can ask me all kinds of background stuff about what's going on. We tell jokes, we have a good time, we drink beers. It's a really, really fun thing, and I'm glad that it's finally starting to take off. There's actually a satisfying feeling that goes along with the stream has always struggled, and I don't really know why. The stream has always struggled quite a bit when it comes to like growth and getting people to move from YouTube on over, and I think a lot of it has to do with time zones and things of that nature and the struggle that goes along with. However, it's been blowing up recently, like seriously, it's been blowing up at a rate that is alarming. I don't even know how to keep up with it. We've gone from like 85 viewers a stream up to like 400 a stream within the course of 2 weeks. It's been pretty wild, and I'm definitely appreciative for it. So if you wanted to be a part of that community, because believe me when I say, it's a really, really good community. It's a community that's fun to be a part of. I'm always impressed by the fact that like my audience, so supportive on Twitch. I know that a lot of chats have issues with that where, I mean, I don't know. I know a lot of streams have issues with trolling and stuff like that, and in all honesty, I'm really, really pleased because the community that we've developed on Twitch is absolutely one of the most uplifting and fantastic, and I always tell people that, like, sometimes I'm in a bad mood when I get to stream, and you guys lift me up and make it so much better. So please, come be a part of it, come hang out with me, ask me whatever questions you've got, and hang out to play some Mountain Blade or whatever else it is that I'm doing on the channel at any given time, and I will definitely be appreciative. So I wanted to get that out of the way up front because that's a very, very important thing to me. I like the Twitch stream, and I really do plan on it factoring heavily into the future of the channel. Aside from that, what do we have going on right now? We have Nifflheim. Nifflheim, a surprising little game, and we started playing it after the last weekend review, so I haven't really had a time to talk about it yet, but Nifflheim is a game that took me by surprise. It's a game that's very, very well polished. It's a game that the combat's a little bit bad, but the rest of it is just so gorgeous to look at that you just can't stop playing it. I love Viking stuff. If you love Viking stuff, it's definitely a game to check out. It's fun figuring out all the interactions between the objects in the world and how each and every one of them ends up being useful or not useful. I like it a lot, and it seems like every single time I feel like the game has run out of content, we run into some new challenge, or we go down into the dungeon, we find some new thing, like a quest giver or something. Didn't even know that the game had quest givers up until the last couple episodes, and I found that one out the hard way. Having a blast with it right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. I don't think it's going to be going anywhere anytime soon. I do think that public interest in the series is pretty solid at the moment, and so I don't feel bad about keeping it up and running. I think that it's definitely, we'll probably do about 20 episodes of it before we do anything else. However, I do think that it's a lighter game, and it is in early access, so for all of its, like, I guess for all of its boons and all the things that it does positively, there's always going to be new stuff coming out for it, and I think eventually we're probably going to run out of content for it. Nonetheless, I've had a really, really good time playing it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what challenges are ahead. I don't even know if the game is beatable right now. I know there is an achievement to slay a dragon or something like that, and who doesn't like the opportunity to slay dragons? That's like the basis of all adventure gaming right there, is the ability to go out, kill some dragons, and get some loot. And in the upcoming episodes, we actually get a come up. I find that in the dungeon, we start making a lot more money. So if you've been frustrated with the fact that we haven't been able to earn any cash, the dungeon definitely allows us to increase our net worth appropriately. It's pretty sweet being like a Viking baller and just being like, baller, and getting in there and just like making it rain gold everywhere. That's what I look like when I make gold rain. So anyways, having fun with Nifflheim, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes in the future. Aside from that, though, we got some armor upgrades coming up in the next couple episodes. We kill a couple bosses in the next couple episodes, so definitely something you want to watch and check out for. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The Loot Crate unboxing went up yesterday. I'm sorry that was a little bit late. I planned on getting it up like 2 or 3 days before, but life has just been so busy right now. I purchased a car this week, and it was off Craigslist, so there's been a lot of haggling and a lot of running around and a lot of meeting up with people and a lot of trying to get things to go through. It did finally go through. For those that are curious, I got a Chrysler 300, which is a dream car for me. Actually, I've wanted a Chrysler 300 since I was probably about 20 years old, and I'm approaching my 30s now. And so anyways, it's nice to finally accomplish something in life that you've wanted to do, and it's a fun thing. It is a materialistic thing, but I don't feel guilty about it. I think that if you work hard, you should play hard as well. The car's in great shape. I think there's a couple things I'd like to fiddle around with it right now. I'm thinking about adding some new tires to it and doing that sort of thing, but that's all stuff for the future. Definitely can't afford it right now. And so I'm just kind of planning it out and getting things on a list. I plan on it being a project car. I hang out with the Rotary Club in Fairfield, California all the time. I hang out with the Rotary Club, and they saw me pull up in my car, and they're like, oh, dude, we gotta fiddle. You gotta let us play around with this thing. And I was like, all right. I mean, what's the point in having friends that work on car and kit out and trick out cars if you're not going to let them play around with yours too? You got to be part of the club. You got to be part of the group. I've started, as a little bit of a change in plan here, I've actually started uploading my streams, and so I wanted to know what you all thought about that. I think it's a thing that... things are being weird right now. No, I don't want that to happen. Sorry. I'm getting things organized. On screen right now for the next little segment that we're talking about. But anyways, one of the things that I've come across is that people are not aware of the stream, and I've been actively promoting it. That's like the new biggest thing that I've been focusing on, is that I think that streaming is going to be a major part of our future here on the channel, and I do think that I have neglected it running up until this point. And so in order to make it right, I've contracted artists to make some new art, some new overlays, get the thing looking professional. We're going to have all kinds of new gimmicks and all kinds of new little kind of, I guess, lore and canon going along with the stream. We're going to have, you know, just little titles and things that I'm going to bestow upon people to get them involved and have a good time. For right now, these are going to roll out slowly. I'll have like a new change every week or so, because I just frankly don't have time to work on it. Every time I sit down and I add something to the stream, it takes a good 2.5 hours for me to add like a major feature, and so they're going to roll out slowly. So don't expect them all to happen at the exact same time, but part of this whole rollout is me adding them to YouTube. I feel like I've been neglecting giving you guys access to the Twitch stream, and I know based on my time zone, it's very, very good for Americans where I'm at, but for people who are overseas, for my Euro audience and all of my UK fans, all of you guys that are across the ocean watching from over there, I feel bad because you guys haven't had an opportunity to catch the streams quite as much unless you stay up to like 4 in the morning, and that's not really fair. And so in order to make the fairness a little bit better, I've been trying to focus on getting out there and making sure that you guys have access to the same content that people over here on the West Coast have content to. So I hope you guys have been liking that. Please let me know what you think down in the comments if you've been appreciative of that. I know that my stream content is a little bit edgier than my YouTube content. I tend to toe the line a little bit harder there. I do consider that a rated R stream. I feel like I do a lot of censoring and editing of myself here on YouTube, and therefore I want the stream to be fun. I want it to be lightweight. I want to cut loose, and I want to tell the dirty jokes and kind of make the one-liners that I'm not allowed to make here on YouTube. So just be aware if you're going to be watching it with your kids or whatever. This is not the same content that I put on YouTube. This is definitely kind of a late night comedy type deal where I go all in, and when I'm ripping on something or when I'm riffing on something or I'm doing like a line or whatever else, it's gonna be a thing that's not gonna be for kids' ears. Now otherwise, if you don't have a problem with language or whatever, go for it. I look forward to seeing you in there, but I felt like I should probably give a fair warning to that regard, because some people are surprised. They come into the stream and they're like, wow, man, you got a bit of a potty mouth. And I'm like, yeah, this is me like as I am in real life right here. In the urge, like for YouTube, I always feel like it's better if I censor myself a little bit and I make it more family friendly. Whereas for the Twitch stream, it's all in. We're going after this for entertainment value, regardless of the classiness and the cost. It definitely ends up being a little bit rougher. But I just wanted to add that into the end. Let me know what you think about me putting the streams up on YouTube, because I do think that it's a good thing, and I hope that you guys are on board with it as well. The Banner Saga. The Banner Saga is going to become a one-off series for us. So first and foremost, before we talk about what I do and don't like about the game so far, you'll excuse my little nose itch right there. I think it's going to be a one-off series. I don't think that people are super into it. It's doing okay right now, and I do think that people are watching it, but it's definitely a dedicated audience, and so based on that, I do want to finish the game, and I am going to finish the game. I'm not going to make any excuses about it. I'm going to keep it on the channel regardless of how well or how badly it does, just because I like the game, and I think that it's a lot of fun, and I want to show it off. Still, it's going to be a one-off series. I'm going to update it when I can, versus having like an everyday schedule for it, and so there may be a couple days in between here where you don't get it, but hang in there. I promise you it'll come back around. The Banner Saga, I doubt it'll take us more than 20-25 episodes anyways. It seems like the storyline is moving along at a pretty fast clip. In the episodes that are upcoming, there's definitely going to be some twists, some turns, some crazy stuff starts happening. The game definitely throws you for a loop. They got some of that M. Night Shyamalan action going on, and I've been surprised by that turn. I thought the game was basically just going to kind of spring new events on you. There were going to be new factions and whatnot, but some very interesting things happen with the Dredge as we move forward. I personally don't know really who to trust in the storyline right now, but aside from that, spoilers, I do think that the Banner Saga is the utmost in indie gaming. It is just... I think it's the top of the mountain, you know, it's the peak, it's the apex, the game, it's the apogee, I suppose. The game has fantastic artwork, it's got a great storyline, I very much like the combat. There are little things here and there that I don't like about the way that they spring new units on you without fully explaining what they do, but a lot of that is oversight on my part, not reading the character descriptions and stuff like that, or just being confused by what they're trying to convey. I do think that it's a very, very solid game, and if you haven't had a chance to pick up the first or the second, I would highly recommend it. These are games that no fan of indie gaming should miss. I can promise you that much right now, so make sure you check it on out. The Banner Saga will be running probably over the course of the next month, kind of in the background, I think. For Stardew Valley. Still having fun with Stardew Valley. Not a whole lot to say over there. If you don't know my thoughts about Stardew Valley, we're very, very fortunate in this part of the year to have access to games that are flat out just good. I mean, indie gaming is just great right now. 2016 has been a fantastic year, whereas in 2015, I was thinking I was going to have to quit because there just weren't any good indie games coming out. Like, they were, every month or so, there would be like one game, but for a high-volume channel like mine, it was very, very difficult to keep up with all the stuff that was going on, like, for realsies. I mean, I'm sorry, it was very, very difficult to come up with programming. There was just nothing that I wanted to show off to you guys. There were like random games that were kind of okay, but I felt dumb about featuring them because they just weren't that good at the end of the day. 2016 is a completely different beast. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on this year, and if you are a fan of indie gaming, this is your year. You're going to be spending some money. I apologize, but your wallet is going to be hurting this year. Speaking of which, indie gaming coming on up in the previous week, we showed off, let's see, we showed off Wayward. That's right, Wayward was a fun little game. I liked Wayward a lot, and if you did get a chance to see the weekly indie newcomer from last week, Wayward was a top-down, old-school survival roguelike where you're a character who's stranded on an island, and you've got to survive by crafting weapons, housing, keeping yourself in out of the elements, not getting sick, poisoned, diving down into a dungeon to find a great treasure. Really, really cool little game with a lot going for it. I was really surprised by how it mixes the idea of old roguelike gaming with new roguelike gaming, and so it's got those classical graphics. It's definitely a minimalist game, but at the same time, the UI is polished. Everything is where it needs to go. Everything looks absolutely fantastic with that game. You can customize the UI. Everything works the way that you think it's going to work without using like crazy amounts of like keys and stuff like that. Really, really fun little game that I think they did a great job on. If you haven't checked the game out, I highly recommend it. Go ahead and check it out. It was on, I guess, April the 30th is when I dropped that one. And I do think that that's a game that's worth taking a look at. For this week, by the time this video has gone up, you will have had a look at Fonic. And how did you feel about Fonic? Fonic was a badass game, right? If you haven't seen this week's weekly indie newcomer yet, Fonic is a game that's kind of like old school Prince of Persia meets Dark Souls. And it's set in Egypt, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really fantastic game. It's highly polished. Everything is very well put together. As I said previously, I've had a lot of trouble keeping up with all of the really cool indie games that are coming out. And I've got a list that's like as long as my arm right now of games that I want to do features on, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet because there's always something new coming out, and I just don't know what to cover. And so anyways, if you enjoy the Weekly Indie Newcomer series, this week is going to be a bang-up week. Fonic, very cool game. Not going to spoil it too much. You've got to check it out. If you like indie gaming, if you like Dark Souls, if you like Prince of Persia, this is the game for you, and it definitely does a great job. I was frankly surprised that an indie developer was able to pull that game off because the sheer breadth of stuff that's inside of the game is like, oh my god, like you're constantly looking at new artwork. It's really, really well put together from a visual standpoint, from a mechanical standpoint, and so I kudos to the developers on that one because they did a really, really great job. They did an absolutely fantastic job. I apologize if you're seeing the camera shift around with the lighting right now. It is constantly swapping the gain and like the white balance out because it's a cloudy day outside, and I use natural light for my videos. Just natural light. Natural light for my videos, so it's a curse. I got to get some of those umbrella things that light me, but that would require me to do these in a different room, and I'm just not set up for it. So unfortunately, the unprofessionality continues. I'm hoping that in the future I'll have blackout blinds and I'll have like a full studio whenever I move to a new place so I can do things a little bit more professionally, because I do feel like I need to bring my game up on YouTube here. I feel like I've not been doing a good job lately, and I need to focus on it. But back to Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is not a whole lot to say. I love the game, and it's going to feature prominently on the channel from here on out. It may take a backseat every now and again so that we can do newer stuff, but I like the game a lot, and I at least want to get through our first year and get some stuff done inside of it. I want to make sure that we've discovered all the animals, that we've done a lot of the events, and that we've gotten married, and that we've done some of those fun little things that are installed inside the game. The sheer volume of content that's available inside of that game is going to be very, very difficult to tackle inside the confines of just like a YouTube series, but I'm doing the best that I can with it, and so we're going to be holding on to that for a while. I'm still enjoying it. There's not a whole lot of background stuff for me to talk about right there, aside from we've already talked about it. I mean, we've got probably 3 months of talking about it in front of us at this point. Every 2 weeks, I do it. We've been playing for 2 months, and so yeah, I've probably done about three weekend reviews talking about it, so not a whole lot there to touch on, unfortunately. I wish I had more for you, but I really sincerely don't. Battlefleet Gothic. Battlefleet Gothic Armada is in a very, very weird spot. I've had a lot of bugs with the game, and I've had a lot of trouble recording it. I may just let it go. It has been, I think it took me upwards of 5 hours to get an hour and a half's worth of video for the last part, and I've just been struggling with it, and to be honest, it makes me frustrated, and so by the time I get into the game, I'm already mad at mechanical stuff. I've had a lot of crashes. I've had a lot of weird bugs with the campaign where things don't activate when they're supposed to as far as quest triggers go, things of that nature, and whereas I like the setting and I like the game, been struggling with it a lot, and I know that it's a crowd pleaser, and I know that you guys like the series a lot. I've been struggling with it. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I would definitely appreciate it. I don't know what to do with it right now. I'm stuck between my love of Warhammer 40k and my desire to finish the series off, and just the struggle, like just struggling, really having a hard time. Every day that I have to record Battlefleet Gothic, I kind of close my eyes and I go, all right, here we go. And I got to amp myself up to do it because the game is a mess right now for me. Other people have said that they've had no problems at all, and I'm sure it's computer to computer, processor to processor. I don't really know what to say about it. I've got about 10 episodes recorded out right now. I've got 5 up at the moment. Been having trouble with it, and it's really been destroying my morale with the series, and it's not something that I like saying, because I do like to finish the stuff that I really enjoy on the channel, but I've been struggling with it, so keep that in mind. If it does make an early exit from the channel, now you know why, and if people ask, you can reference and let them know. You can tell them to come take a look at this video, and it will give them a rough idea of why it's not featuring on the channel so much anymore. But that's the kind of that's the down point of our weekend review right now, is I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. The Emperor protects, but the Emperor apparently does not program, and that's the best that I can say about it. Jalopy. I decided to let Jalopy go this week. I'd like to wait and see what's going to happen with it. I know it was a very, very popular series here on the channel. I know that it was a crowd pleaser and that it was pulling crazy amounts of views. However, that being said, I feel like we've done just about everything we can do in the game. I mean, all we can really do is drive around and make stuff happen. I may let it go through the weekend. I may pick it back up in a week or two once it's updated a couple of times. I don't really know, but I like the game a lot. Jalopy, for whatever reason, I don't like the game on a mechanical level, but I like the game on a thematical level. Like, I like what they're going after with the game, and I like what they're getting at, and I think that it's a very, very immersive little driving game, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it develops in the future, but I think that for right now, it's just too early for Jalopy. It is just, frankly, too early, and so it'll probably be taking a sidestep as well, but do not despair. We've got games coming out. We've got things happening. And so we may be running a little bit slow on the channel for the next week or so until new things come out. That being said, for it running slower on the channel, it will be running more rapidly on Twitch, and I'll be trying to get active on Saturdays earlier on in the day so that people can play games on there. And so anytime I have a slow period on YouTube from now on, I'm going to be trying to pick up the slack on Twitch because it is booming at the moment. Twitch, I'm doing the same numbers as like Cryotic right now and stuff on Twitch, not in terms of viewers, but in terms of like follows and just metrics and stuff like that. And so I feel like it would be very, very foolish of me not to chase that down right now. It seems like a thing that's working to my favor. As far as Master of Orion goes, we had a sponsored series on a Master of Orion, which was a fun little 4X game. I know I don't normally do 4X here on the channel because it's outside the breadth of, I don't know, I have trouble doing 4X games because I feel like the audience expects a certain thing like me to know what I'm doing, and that's just not the kind of, content that I make. I'm the sort of guy that just kind of flies into things by the, by the seat of my pants, and I hope for the best. And with 4X games, you like to come in prepared, ready to rock, and kind of having things set up the way you want them to be set up. And unfortunately, I'm not that guy, but Master of Orion's a pretty polished little game. I was impressed by it so far. Sponsorship aside on the channel, I went into it expecting to kind of not be my thing, but I ended up enjoying it a lot and playing it quite a bit more on the side than I actually did. If you haven't checked that video out, it's an hour-long video just exploring the basic mechanics of the way that the game works and having a good time with what the developers have given us. If you don't know what 4X is, it's just a very, very complicated grand strategy game, and so the goal is to conquer the galaxy and do a whole bunch of stuff. I think it stands for expand, exterminate, something rather. I don't know. It's 4X's, and I used to have them memorized back when I played games like X3 a lot. But it's a fun little title. I was surprised by it. It definitely, that's been happening a lot to me recently. I've been going into things kind of cynically lately, and things have been going pretty well aside from that. We don't have much more to talk about in this video. I think this is probably going to be a short one. Fragmented, I ended up stopping Fragmented because my save got wiped. I got a little bit into the game, my save got wiped, and then I was just like, well, I guess I'll go do something else. I hope that doesn't offend anybody too much, but save wipes, I didn't really feel like doing another 3-4 hours worth of work to get back up to where we were. The save wipe was one of those things that was unduckable. It just kind of happened. If you are playing the game, be aware for save wipes, you can save your stuff by putting them in storage chests and things like that. It's just your character that gets wiped. But I had all my stuff on my character because I was in the process of making my first storage chest. So that was what it was. This is the weekend review. If you liked it, make sure you go down to Patreon and check out some of the things that you can get for backing the channel. The next one up is a series where monthly we will go through and I will talk with another YouTuber for an hour or two at a time. We'll hang out and just talk about the things we like about YouTube, the things that we're doing on our channels, and we'll make frenzies. We'll have fun right there. That's the next thing that's up on the docket, I think, at $400 a month. So anyways, my name is Splattercat. I will see you all later. This is the weekend review where we have a business-like talk about all the things happening on the channel. I think we're a little bit slow at the moment, but things should pick up as we get into the summer. There's a lot of fun games coming out, and there's plenty of things that I can revisit, like, Slime Rancher, Project Zomboid, Subnautica. I've already got all of that lined up. The Long Dark, I know the developers emailed me a week or two ago and were like, hey, so are you going to check the game out soon? And I was like, yeah, I saw you guys added a whole bunch more content. You guys are working overtime. I just want to make sure it's in the right place before we go all in. I don't want to start a survival series and then have them drop story right afterwards, and then have to restart and do story right after I started Sandbox. And so anyways, I'm looking forward. If it gets a little bit too slow, there's lots of stuff that I can cover here, and I'm looking forward to doing it with you all. This week we're going to have Rogue Wizards coming up this weekend, and by the time you see this video, the first couple episodes of Rogue Wizards will be up, so let me know what you think about that. I will see you all later. Thanks for stopping on by, and I will see you for the next video. Bye, everybody.